Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered why everyone on your TV and smartphone screens seem to be shouting so much lately? Their points becoming more blunt, more straightforward, yet filled with anger, rage, and seemingly obvious calls to actions? In this video, we will be taking a look at outrage content, why it grabs our attention, how it can psychologically deceive our brains into believing it is true, and what we can do about it. First, let's begin with, what is outrage content? Well, in this video, outrage content will refer to videos and other media where the emotions presented are primarily of anger, negativity, and, well, outrage. It would be the difference between me making a nice video about how I prefer not to drink soda because it impacts my diet, and making an emotionally heightened video explaining how the evil soda industry is trying to literally poison my body, keep me addicted, and how we are all being trapped by the system that has put us here and we must all rise in revolt. See the difference? Well, research has shown that this second video idea of mine will probably go farther than the first video. Why? This is because emotions such as anger and outrage act like emotional contagions and spread faster throughout social media than other emotions because they elicit powerful reactions. A lot of research has shown that content featuring negative emotions often gets much more engagement than content with neutral or positive emotions. And what does this mean for you when you're on social media? That's right, it will get shown to you more as a result, almost as a default. So let's say you like or comment on my outrage soda video. Well, now social media algorithms get a sense for what you like, so you might get more outrage videos about soda. Maybe one about how a Mentos experiment went wrong and completely obliterated someone's car window, and now they are suing Pepsi and banning Pepsi products from their household. Maybe another with someone crying and screaming into a camera, claiming that the bubbles in Coca-Cola made them lose their last relationship due to a mishap, and how could Coca-Cola allow their drinks to be so bubbly? The thing is, as humans, the way information is presented to us is super important in how we perceive it. All of us, it plays to our core emotions. And this is tricky because as you get shown more and more of this emotionally charged content, you become more susceptible to confirmation bias, which is when our brains seek out information to confirm our pre-existing beliefs. Your outrage allows you to more easily believe the initial content you consumed, and then your brain more easily believes other information like it. You can check out my confirmation bias video for more information. And you get into a dangerous cycle. The initial post you liked was full of outrage, which then triggered more content similar to it, also full of outrage, and your emotions keep getting heightened more and more. You're then in a highly charged echo chamber and you don't even know it. And this is actually great for social media and traditional media companies, because it keeps you more and more engaged and more willing to interact with these types of things. You view more advertisements, and this means more money for them. They don't care why you're on their sites or apps, they just want you on them for as long as possible. And since we are the result of what we consume, we end up believing the outrage content more easily, and constantly shutting down alternative viewpoints or even viewpoints that aren't as outraged as the ones we are consuming. It becomes our entire world. It goes without saying that this can have a serious impact on our mental health. The parts of our brain that were only meant for occasional outrage when necessary are now being outraged all the time. This is what draws our attention to media and ads. There have been studies that this constant exposure to this type of content can lead to anxiety and depression. Not to mention, it completely alters our views on the world to the extreme, doesn't help ground us in our current realities, and it's exhausting. This isn't to say that there isn't a time and place for outrage. There is a reason why it's one of our most powerful emotions. It calls us to action. But just like any other aspect of our minds, it can be manipulated and taken advantage of, and at the detriment of our mental health. So what can we do about this? Are we all doomed? Well, yes, probably, and you should be outraged. Which is what I would have said if this was an outrage video. I feel like I suggest this in all my videos, but really the first best thing you can do is become aware of this, both how outrage can impact us psychologically and how people can profit or benefit from taking advantage of this emotion. It's a shame, but companies really are incentivized to profit off your attention, and nothing quite grabs your attention as an animated person telling you why you should never buy chocolate ever again, as they burn all the chocolate they own on their patio. The second best thing you should do is spend less time on social media and spiraling into outrage content. And not just on your phone, you can find it on TV too. In fact, mainstream media networks have been doing this since before social media. Sometimes it's best to just step away from all of it for a while. Our brains want more information and we become hooked, and it's hard to disconnect when we're spiraling. But if you view it as something that you are doing to actually make you and your brain healthier, this might help. It's easy to fall into all of this, and people know it. Think about the intentions of the people making you outraged. Who is it coming from? What could they benefit from you being outraged? We're in a very big election year where there is a lot of outrage about what the other side is doing. Think about what outrage does to you psychologically and really consider the points being made. Are you really thinking critically and making the best decisions when you are in a state of outrage? And again, this is not to say there is nothing to be outraged about. Trust me, there are many, many things worth being outraged about. Don't get me started. However, we need to save our energy for those things. You can't be outraged about everything. And it's also helpful to keep in the back of your head that it's always a lot more attention grabbing to say, everything is on fire and we are all doomed, than to say, the world has a lot of problems and we need to fix them, so let's do it together. What do you think? Should I be more outraged in my next video to get more views? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.